Welcome back. This week, Donald Trump will be the first former president to ever face a trial on felony charges. That historic trial centers on allegations that Mr. Trump falsified business records as part of a scheme to conceal a $130,000 hush money payment in 2016 to porn star Stormy Daniels. Daniels says she had an extramarital affair with Trump years earlier. Trump denies wrongdoing, but if convicted, he could face jail time, which means Monday's jury selection marks a very big moment for our country, and that may be an understatement. So what will this historic trial hold for former President Donald Trump, and what does it mean for this year's presidential race? Let's unpack it all with attorney Tre Lovell. Always appreciate your legal analysis. Welcome to the race weekend jury selection. What will Trump's legal team be looking for? What will the prosecution be looking for in a potential jury pool? And how do you possibly get a group of people to serve on a jury who don't have an opinion of Donald Trump already?
First, to really understand what's happening is a huge challenge for the prosecution. They're taking a legal non-disclosure agreement, which are executed every single day in the business and entertainment world, and trying to contort it and stretch it into a felony. And in order to do that, they have to cross a number of bridges and connect a number of dots. Many of which include, first of all, they have to demonstrate that it was actually falsified a business record. One of the problems is Trump didn't pay Stormy Daniels, Cohen did. And so you don't have that direct link. Also, the amount that was paid to Cohen was $420,000, which doesn't match up with the amount that Stormy Daniels paid. So now they have to kind of explain, what and break down what those payments were for. And then you have to prove that Donald Trump knew it. And then you have to prove that it was to conceal another crime. So there's a number of great hurdles, all with the backdrop of beyond a reasonable doubt. So it's going to be a tough case.
I'm listening to your answer there, Tre, and I sense maybe a smidge of skepticism about these charges. If you were district attorney in Manhattan, would you have charged Mr. Trump with these felonies?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. First of all, there are so many other prosecutions of Trump that this is just an unnecessary extension of that. Moreover, trying to take, this fact pattern, which really was, as I said, on its face, nothing unusual about it. And to try to then manifest it into a felony, which you have to involve federal laws, which there's a question whether or not a local state prosecutor can do. And it just seems like it's political. If it weren't Donald Trump, they wouldn't be bringing this.
This trial, as it's scheduled, will not happen every single day of the week. There will be breaks. It will stretch out for several weeks, but there will be some breaks. How does that impact the rhythm of a case? Because in sports, this weekend is Augusta National, the Masters. They're talking about how starting and stopping can impact players. How does starting and stopping impact a trial?
Surprisingly, it doesn't really. It's not unusual for a court to go 4 days a week and have Friday dark, or things come up and they'll be dark during the week. And they will just pick up where they left off. Sometimes, in the mornings that, where they are can be summarized to a jury, but the continuity isn't really broken up if certain days are missed. Everybody's on a tight schedule anyway. You have your witness list, you have your exhibits are going to be introduced. Everybody knows that ahead of time. And then as each day starts and gets underway, you kind of gauge where you're at. And if you've been dark for a couple of days, then you just kind of pick up where you left off. So, surprisingly, it's not that big of a deal, and it happens all the time in every trial across the country.
You've advised a lot of clients with big personalities over the years. What do you expect former President Trump's demeanor to be? What would you advise his temperament to be?
He is going to be in front of a jury who is going to be eyeing him the whole time. And a jury is composed of people. And not only are they going to listen to the evidence, they're going to judge him as a person. They're going to judge his traits. Is he a loudmouth? Is he rude? Or is he contrite? Is he quiet? Is he respectful? All that goes into ultimately the decision-making of not only the charges, but his credibility. and who he is, as a person. So he does not want to be loud. He does not want to be rude. He does not want to disrespect. He wants to come in there and be serious, be credible, and he can be very charming. So be likable, and that's going to be essential because
how do you
juries,
be likable? Give me some advice. I've never been a criminal defendant in a trial. What do you tell somebody? How do you make somebody likable?
Well, first, when they're sitting next to you, you never have them smirk. You never have them give gasps. They want to be straight-faced. They want to be, just very straightforward and businesslike. He's probably not going to testify. I would be very shocked if he did. But if he did testify, just let his personality come out. He tells the story. He tells his narrative. And sometimes you interject that with bits of I don't want to say laughter because it's a very serious thing. But it can be very informal as well on certain things. So, you just have to find a way to manifest, his personality, and it can come out in a number of different ways. But the most important thing is the respect for the trial, for the court, for the jury. He has to be on his best behavior, and it really will go a long way.
Tre Lovell, entertainment, corporate attorney, legal analyst, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it. We'll be dissecting this trial starting Monday every single day. It could be the biggest trial in a long, long time in this country. It looks like it will be. Thank you, sir. And we'll be following this case, as we mentioned.